Welcome to MacroPulse Business. Today we explore one of the most profound frameworks ever written about human potential, reality transurfing, by quantum physicist Vadim Zeland. What if I told you that the life you truly want, financial freedom, meaningful relationships, vibrant health, already exists, not as a distant dream, but as a real, accessible reality waiting for you to tune in? Zeland argues that the universe is not random. It is an infinite library of all possible realities, and you, right now, have the power to walk into the section labeled exactly the life you want. Over the next 10 minutes, we will break down the core principles of reality transurfing, the space of variations, thought energy, life tracks, the pendulum, and the wave of success. Stay until the end. The framework in the final segment changes everything. Reality transurfing. Even the name sounds unusual. Vadim Zeland coined it by combining the words trans, meaning transition, and surfing, meaning to ride a wave effortlessly. Together, transurfing means moving to a different life track, the way a surfer rides a wave, naturally, without struggle. Zeland was a quantum physicist working in Russia when he developed this framework, drawing from both theoretical physics and his own observations of human behavior. His book, first published in Russian in 2004, became a global phenomenon with over 1.3 million copies sold. The key insight that separates reality transurfing from other self-help frameworks is this. You do not need to fight, hustle, or manifest your way to success. You simply need to choose the correct life track and then align your energy to it. Think of a supermarket. You do not argue with the shelves to give you what you want. You simply walk to the right aisle and pick it up. At the heart of reality transurfing lies a radical concept, the space of variations. Zeland describes this as an infinite information field that contains all possible versions of every event that has ever happened, is happening, and will ever happen. Every possible life you could live, wealthy or broke, healthy or sick, fulfilled or empty, already exists in this field right now. Think of it as a cosmic database. Every scenario is preloaded. Your role is not to create your desired reality from scratch. That would be exhausting and impossible. Your role is simply to select it. Zeland compares this to shopping. When you want an apple, you do not grow an apple tree, harvest the apples, and press them into juice. You walk to the store. The space of variations is that store. And every product on those shelves is a version of your life, already packaged, already real, already waiting for you to pick it up and bring it home. Modern science backs this idea more than most people realize. Physics tells us that 95% of the universe is invisible. Only 5% is ordinary matter, the stars, planets, and everything we can touch and see. The remaining 27% is dark matter, and 68% is dark energy. Scientists can measure their effects, but cannot see or directly detect them. The universe is overwhelmingly made of things beyond normal human perception. Quantum physics adds another layer. At the subatomic level, particles exist in what physicists call superposition, multiple states simultaneously, until a conscious observer measures them. At that moment, the wave function collapses and one specific reality emerges. Zeland argues this is not just physics jargon. It describes exactly how the space of variations works. The possibilities are all real, all coexisting. Your attention, your consciousness, your focused intention, these act as the observer that collapses the wave function. You literally select a reality by choosing where to place your awareness. Here is where Zeland introduces a powerful metaphor. Imagine a handheld flashlight in a perfectly dark room. The room contains thousands of objects, chairs, paintings, books, doorways, but you can only see whatever the flashlight is pointing at right now. The rest of the room still exists. The other objects are real. You are simply not looking at them. Your consciousness works the same way. Of the infinite life tracks available in the space of variations, you experience only the one your mental flashlight is pointing at. This brings us to thought energy. Zeland teaches that thoughts are not just mental events. They are a form of energy that interacts with the space of variations. Positive, aligned thoughts carry a different energetic frequency than fearful, anxious ones. When your mental energy is coherent, when your thoughts, emotions, and soul's desire point in the same direction, you naturally slide toward the life track that matches that frequency. The signal you broadcast determines the station you receive. Think of your life as a film reel. In a movie, every single frame already exists before you press play. The story is complete, but you only see one frame at a time as the film runs. Zeland uses this as a precise description of reality. Every possible version of your life, from the moment you were born to the day you die, already exists as a sequence of frames in the space of variations. What we call living is simply moving through these frames, one moment at a time. But here is the critical point. You have choice about which film you are running. Every decision you make, every thought you hold persistently, every emotion you embody, these all influence which track of frames you slide into next. You are not stuck in a single predetermined movie. You have access to an entire library. The question is not whether good versions of your life exist. They do. The question is whether you are directing your energy towards selecting them, or accidentally wandering into stories you never consciously chose. In 2008, Jessica Cox became the first licensed armless pilot in aviation history. Born without arms due to a rare birth defect, Cox was told repeatedly what she could never do: fly a plane, drive a car, type on a keyboard. She did all three using only her feet. Cox did not achieve this by ignoring her situation or pretending her arms existed. She achieved it by refusing to adopt the mental track labeled impossible. She consistently held a different self-image, a person capable of flight. She trained for 3 years. She failed constantly. But her internal reference point, her chosen life track, was always that of a pilot. Zeland would describe Jessica Cox as a natural practitioner of transurfing. She did not fight her physical reality. She selected a different one from within the space of variations, aligned her energy and actions to it, and allowed that track to become her actual lived experience. Her story is not an inspiration poster. It is a demonstration of the mechanics Zeland describes. The track existed. She chose it. And then she flew. Now we come to one of Zeland's most distinctive and practical concepts, the pendulum. A pendulum, in transurfing, is any large-scale thought structure sustained by the collective energy of a group of people. Political parties are pendulums. Sports teams are pendulums. Major religions, corporations, social movements, toxic relationships, even trending ideologies. All pendulums. A pendulum feeds on your emotional energy. It does not care whether your emotion is positive or negative. Outrage fuels it just as much as enthusiasm. The pendulum's sole purpose is to keep swinging, to keep attracting more energy from more people. When a pendulum latches onto you, you feel its effects clearly. You feel compelled to argue about politics at dinner. You feel anxious if you miss the news cycle. You feel angry when your sports team loses, as if something genuinely important was taken from you. You are not reacting to your own life. You are being used as a battery. Zeland's warning is stark. Every hour you spend feeding a pendulum that does not serve your goals is an hour stolen from your own life track. How do you escape a pendulum? Zeland provides 4 concrete steps. Step 1. Recognize it. The first and most difficult step is awareness. You must learn to notice when your emotional state is being hijacked. Ask yourself, is this urgency coming from my own goals, or is something external pulling at my energy? Step 2. Withdraw attention. Do not fight the pendulum. That only feeds it more energy. Simply redirect your focus. If you stop paying attention to a pendulum, it loses its grip on you. Indifference, not resistance, is the escape route. Step 3. Conscious acceptance. This does not mean agreement. It means acknowledging the pendulum's existence without emotional investment. You see it, you understand it, and you choose not to engage. Step 4. Reversal. This is the advanced move. Instead of letting the pendulum drain you, you use your awareness of its patterns to predict its behavior and position yourself advantageously. You turn the swinging force into a calculated advantage. In practical terms, this looks like someone who understands media cycles, crowd psychology, or market panics, and profits from them instead of being consumed by them. The wave of success is one of transurfing's most practical and immediately actionable ideas. Zeland observes that success rarely arrives as a single event. It comes in waves, and you can learn to catch those waves, or miss them entirely. The wave begins with small, unexpected positive signals, a chance encounter, an unusual piece of good news, a creative idea that arrives from nowhere. Most people dismiss these signals as coincidences or luck. They do not act on them, or they act too slowly, and the wave passes without them riding it. The transurfing practitioner learns to recognize these early signals and immediately increase their attention, energy, and action in response to them. The wave rewards those who meet it. Here is the key mechanic. The wave has a narrow entry window. If you respond to it with positivity, gratitude, and aligned action, you board it. If you respond with doubt, overthinking, or emotional turbulence, you fall off. The wave does not punish you for this. It simply moves on. And the next wave will come. But the question is whether you will be ready to recognize it and bold enough to step onto it when it arrives. So how do you actually practice reality transurfing? Zeland distills the entire system into 3 core steps. Step 1. Choose. Decide clearly and specifically what life track you want to inhabit. Not a vague wish, a specific, defined version of your life. Write it down. Describe it. Give it weight and form. The clearer you are, the more precisely you can tune your internal frequency to that track. Step 2. Align. This is the most nuanced step. you must bring your mind and your soul into agreement. Zeland distinguishes between the mind, which tends to chase goals out of fear, ambition, or societal pressure, and the soul, which knows what genuinely resonates with your deepest nature. When these two are in conflict, you create internal turbulence that pushes you away from your desired track. Alignment means choosing goals that both your rational mind and your inner self can embrace fully. Step 3. Detach. This is paradoxically the most powerful step. Release the desperate need for your desired reality to arrive on a specific timeline. Excessive importance creates energetic distortion. It actually repels the very outcomes you want. Trust the process. Stay in action, but hold your outcomes with an open hand, not a clenched fist. Let us bring everything together. Reality transurfing is not a philosophy of wishful thinking. It is a structured framework for conscious life navigation. The space of variations contains every possible version of your life. You are already moving through it. The question is whether you are doing so consciously or by default. Pendulums will always try to drain your energy. Your job is to recognize them, disengage from them, and redirect that energy toward your chosen track. When the wave of success appears, and it will, your job is to recognize it early and ride it without fear. The 3 steps are simple enough to begin today. Choose your track with clarity. Align your mind and soul toward it, and release the desperate grip of excessive importance. Jessica Cox had no arms. She flew a plane. The track was there. She chose it. If you found value in this breakdown, subscribe to MacroPulse Business for more frameworks that help you understand how the world actually works, so you can navigate it with more clarity, more confidence, and more intention. The next track you want, it already exists. The only question is whether you will choose it. We will see you in the next one.